When Volvo set out to try and steal the best customers away from the A4 and the 3 Series, they didn't screw around. This decidedly handsome beast is perhaps the most mind-changing Volvo yet. Let's drive the 2012 S60 T6 R and check the tech. The S60 shares a platform with the XC60 crossover, but you'd never know it by looking at them. This sedan has none of Volvo's traditional chunky shoe appeal, nor the goofy trying too hard thing of the more modern C30 coupe.
Gotta hand it to Volvo, they've got a distinct and really very elegant and handsome cabin language now. They've really pulled it together. Very subtly fared in things like their vents and their bezels. This control panel is very Volvo. It ties into that, 7-inch high-res LCD. And what you've got here is a series of knobs, not a central controller like a lot of companies use. The key thing is this is a rotating selector with an OK or select button on top and an exit or back button on the lower half of this guy. It also doubles as a tuner when you're in radio. Now let's get to what you can see on the screen. Here's our navigation, optional navigation by the way. And like everything on this screen, really fine dot pitch. I've got all the POIs showing right now. You have real-time traffic on this guy. Let's go to the media system. Here's your optical slot, CD or DVD, because we have the top-end media system, which has Dolby Pro Logic and handles DVDs. Down here, your control system brings you to the media tab. Disc is this slot, of course. Rotate this to USB. There's my USB and iPod connector. Bluetooth is streaming Bluetooth, A2DP. Of course, you also have Bluetooth hands-free as well. And a good old-fashioned aux jack right in here, right next to the USB guy. And since every car maker's teaming up with some Rob Report-style home audio brand, these guys have teamed up with Odyssey. They've got a system in here with, I believe, 12 speakers, 5 amps at 130 watts each, as I mentioned, Dolby Pro Logic decoding, and what they call Mult-EQ, which is an advanced DSP system that tunes out all the distortions and weirdnesses of this car's particular cabin, although I don't find any mention of there being active noise cancellation. Cameras, this car is optioned up with the camera in the rear, which is pretty standard stuff. You have 2 views, useful and useless, which is just a little bit of a crop and push on the existing view. A lot of car makers are doing that now, and it's basically a gimmick. But you do, in the main view, have trajectory and these kind of silly dotted lines. I don't know what those dotted lines mean. I prefer the red, green, yellow, or something like that. I guess if I look in the manual, it's going to tell me every dotted line is 6 inches or something, but I don't need to memorize that math. Give me regions that say, don't go here.
Now, as this is a Volvo, there's a slew of tech to keep you from running into or over anyone. Standard is city safety, which keeps you from rear-ending someone in stop-and-go traffic. We've tried it. It works. Optional is the blind spot information system, adaptive cruise control, lane departure warning, and the related distance alert to prevent rear-enders in other situations. Then there's collision warning technology with pedestrian detection, which can actually detect a pedestrian when you're texting or whatever, and apply up to 100% of the brakes to keep you from running them over. An industry first from Volvo.
One choice on the gearbox here, which is this Geartronic 6-speed automatic, a true automatic, not a CVT. As you can see, it's got a pretty traditional gate, and then you've got your shiftable gate over here. No paddles, though. Now let's go see what feeds into that. Now the R-spec on this car is the same engine layout. 3-liter inline-6 turbocharged sitting like this. But they've revised it with different timing on spark and advance and combustion. And they've also gone through and they've kind of ported and free-flowed the engine. So you get a much better breathing mill, which takes you to 325 horsepower, 354 foot-pounds of torque, and it gets this guy up to 60 about a half a second faster, around 5.5, while still delivering 1826 mpg. And again, both models are all-wheel drive that we're talking about here, and both go out to that same 6-speed automatic, which we will now go find out how well it works.
First of all, in everyday city driving, how's the power delivery of this turbo? It's actually quite good around town, very tractable in that sense. I don't get the determination or the feeling that it's having to think to apply boost, and that's good, because when you feel a turbo in town, you've got a disaster on your hands. We'll see how it is more on the open road. Now let's try adjusting the steering force. There's this menu here For steering wheel force, I have 3 settings: low, medium, high. Let me see. All right, so high should give me a higher weighting, dramatically more than low. It's a nice smooth sounding engine, not quite in the Audi realm of smoothness, but that's the benchmark anyway, so it's not bad to be even close to that. It's quite comfortable in town. Firm seats, but good overall ergonomics, and a lot of good room in this car, by the way. Plenty of headroom for me. Okay, now I've got some open road. Let's set this car up for its more athletic handling, and that's really just 2 things. Pop it over here in the gate, and I don't want to manually shift it. I mean, it's an automatic, for crying out loud. You do your job. But I'll put it in the manual gate, and you see that puts me in sport mode right there, so it's going to shift and hold RPMs a little more aggressively. And then I'm going to dial in this steering, which I did already while I was stopped, into high force, which is the least assist. Should give me a little better feedback and a little less oversteer on my part. Now, leaving this car in the sport side of the automatic gate, you start to feel that it's an automatic, more so than we did when we were around town. It's less suited to what I'm trying to do here, which is drive a little more spiritedly. And here's where it still seeks a top gear too much. It's having to yank itself out of what I think is like 4th or 5th at a speed where I'd rather have it in 2nd or 3rd. So that's an argument to get into the shift gate, which of course you can. But the power on this car is really quite linear once it comes on. It has that sort of turbo times overly high gear thing we get in a lot of cars these days. But once it comes on, it's a nice broad torque curve out of that turbo, which not all of them are. And that's a benefit of having a big engine. Suspension I'm not impressed with. I'm getting plenty of little, yaw hop as I go around this choppy sort of road that's got a lot of twists and turns in it. This is where that adaptive 4C suspension that is optional might be nice.
Okay, let's price this S60 T6. In this case, it's an R, but a T6 without the R package starts off at $38,800. Then to get to an R model, which is a different model, you're going to pay about $4,600 more. And that's going to roll in the hotter motor, the 4C active suspension, bigger wheels, the R body kit, moonroof, and those dual xenon headlights. The multimedia package is the high-end audio. The navigation's included, as is a rear camera, $2,700. I might go for that. The tech package gets you all that adaptive cruise, lane departure, distance alert, and the thing that'll stop you before you whack a pedestrian for $2,100. And the one that I'd blow off without even thinking about it is the rear seat entertainment option for $1,800. It's a hokey old dual screen, dual DVD that you could have bought at Kmart and Velcroed to your seats. Bye-bye.